Hey guys, I'm the Comics Kid 2099, and you know the drill. It's Saturday, and that means I'm here to talk about an episode of an animated superhero cartoon series. Today, I'm here to talk about an episode of Batman the Animated Series titled The Cape and Cowl Conspiracy. Before I get on to the review, I'll quickly sum up the plot, so if that sort of thing bothers you, then leave the room now. The episode begins with Wormwood, a guy called the Interrogator, stealing some bearer bonds from a diplomat. Batman and Gordon discuss this and try to figure out how they can get the bonds back and capture Wormwood. Batman visits a former associate of Wormwood's, a baron from another country, and gets some information from him in the way that you would expect from Batman. Then we see the baron hiring Wormwood to get Batman's cape and cowl. Wormwood is naturally curious why the Baron would want these things, and the Baron is naturally curious how Wormwood got those bearer bonds. The rest of the episode is a battle of wits between Batman and Wormwood, as Wormwood eventually successfully gets Batman's cape and cowl. When he brings them to the Baron, he tells the Baron what he planned to do with the bearer bonds, and it is here that we discover that the Baron is Batman in disguise. Now armed with the information they need to put Wormwood away, the day is saved thanks to the Powerpuff Girls. There's not a whole lot that I have to say about this episode, good or bad, really. Most of my complaints are minor nitpicks, really. Wormwood uses riddles to lure people into his traps, which screams Riddler to me, and it makes me wonder why this episode could not have just used Riddler instead of some guy that we'll never see again, especially when you consider that Riddler didn't even show up that often in this show anyway. If this episode had been switched around with "If you're so smart," then you wouldn't even have to change anything about the episode if you switched Wormwood with Riddler. But like I say, that's a nitpick. I don't really mind that it's not the Riddler. Every once in a while, you can have non-costumed, non-comic book villains be the focus of an episode. Sometimes it may not work out so well, like the Sewer King or Red Claw, but I think this time it worked out just fine. Something else that's even more nitpicky was, just how in the world did a guy who looks to be a full foot taller than the Baron cosplay as the Baron and successfully fool Wormwood? I get that in the comics at least, Batman is a master of disguise. In the story set before Batman was fully established as a legit protector of Gotham, when he was just getting started, he'd often dress up as a shoe shiner or something like that to get close to Gordon and talk to him. So it's not like this just comes out of nowhere. Now maybe it would have been nice if this had been planted a little more in this series, as, if I'm not mistaken, we only get to see Batman's use of disguises in one episode before this one, but I guess that's good enough for the purposes of Chekhov's gun. But I am still ready to call foul at Batman being able to dress up as the Baron and not get caught, but still just a nitpick here. And the only other thing that I can think of that I'd have an issue with is Wormwood's obsession with why the Baron would want Batman's cape and cowl. This is a pretty crucial part of the episode, since without Wormwood being so darn curious, the air quotes Baron would not be able to pry the information about the bonds out of him. But still, it seems really convenient and even a little contrived. Just how exactly would Batman have gotten the necessary information if Wormwood wasn't curious about what the Baron wanted with the Batman's cape and cowl? What if Wormwood was just a normal mercenary and didn't ask any questions at all about the jobs that he pulled? Would Batman have just started punching him to get the information he needed? Again, none of these complaints I have are really huge. This is probably my biggest problem with the episode, and it's a minor one. I think this is a great episode. It's nice to see Batman using his brain here, as a problem I had with some of the earlier episodes was that Batman never seemed to use his brain. He'd feed information into the computer and let it solve all the problems. We don't have that here, and that's very refreshing. And even my little problem with Wormwood here, it's consistent with the kind of character that is presented in this episode. We see that he's very particular about everything. He doesn't like being touched, and I imagine if we had gotten to see a little bit more of him do his thing, he would probably plan out his crimes very meticulously and methodically. So something like, why does this guy want these things? I can easily see how that would be something that would bug this kind of person. I've known people like this, and if there's something that they don't know, then they would not be able to sleep until they found out what it was. So this isn't even as much of a problem as I was letting on. Really, this is a pretty fantastic episode, and sadly, I don't ever hear people talk this one up. Usually when people talk about their favorite episodes of the series, they'll talk about Almost Got Him, The Man Who Killed Batman, or Joker's Favor. But this is just about as great as any of those in my humble. Shame it doesn't get the love that it deserves. That's about all I have for today, guys. Did you guys like this episode as much as I did? Did you like the review of this episode? If so, feel free to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And if you did like this review, next week I will be doing a review of the 2-part premiere of Batman Beyond, so be sure to check out what I have to say then. And as always, I'm here throughout the week doing videos on different things, so be sure to check out those videos. Until then, I'll see you guys later. Have a great day.